Long John Silver's has been sinking slower than a pirate with concrete boots. Decades of decline, and yet somehow it's still bobbing along like a stubborn piece of driftwood. But the question is, why? This fast food empire has found itself in the shallows of irrelevance, and all of this is chalked up to overconfidence, missed opportunities, and a stubborn refusal to adapt. Why has Long John Silver's declined, and could it ever recover? Before we dive right in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tasty restaurant stories. Long John Silver's was founded by Jim Patterson, a Kentucky-based restaurateur who wanted to create a chain for seafood that would be fast, casual, and accessible to families. During this time, fast food was highly popular. Once it opened on August 18, 1969, the first Long John Silver's restaurant marked the beginning of a new chapter in the fast food industry. The design of the original restaurant had a distinctive maritime theme, and this quickly became the trademark of the brand. What made Long John Silver's unique was its niche. In the 1970s and 80s, this was a time where fast food chains mostly focused on burgers, fries, and fried chicken. To eat seafood, you'd have to visit a more fancy restaurant and wait a while. But with the emergence of Long John Silver's, customers could enjoy seafood offerings in just a few minutes. These included delicious fish, hush puppies, and shrimp. Another highlight of Long John Silver's was the pirate-themed charm. The name alone was inspired by Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island because nothing says fast food like a 19th century novel about scurvy and betrayal. During that time, the name was popular and recognizable, adding more fame to the brand. The pirate theme was so strong you half expected employees to say, "Arr, would you like fries with that?" instead of just handing you a receipt. Seafood was, and still is, often seen as a pricier dining option, but at Long John Silver's, it was accessible to everyone at an affordable price. As time went on, the restaurant brand gained a lot of fame, expanding to over 1,000 locations in the early 1980s as a national brand. The 70s and 80s were the golden era for Long John Silver's, back when people thought eating fried fish shaped like a rectangle was peak dining sophistication. With a combination of distinctive menu items, great value, and marketing campaigns with pirate-themed advertisements, it was a winning formula for Long John Silver's. The 1990s were a turning point, not just for Long John Silver's, but for the entire fast food industry. Suddenly, people cared about things like calories and arteries, and Long John Silver's was left waving its deep-fried fish around like, but it's still technically seafood, right? The brand, which had been related to indulgent fried meals for a long time, was now out of sync as it couldn't meet the changing preferences of health-conscious consumers. Salads, grilled chicken, and light options were in. Long John Silver's, with battered fish and carb-heavy sides, was ignored. What's more, competitors were stealing all the attention from Long John Silver's. McDonald's introduced the Filet-O-Fish, while Burger King rolled out their own fish sandwiches. Even non-seafood chains started offering fish options, so the fast food chain was no longer unique like before. The brand remained popular in the 1990s, but it was facing a lot of competition from the established fast food giants in the food industry. And let's not forget the financial shipwreck that Long John Silver's was facing. By 1998, Long John Silver's was drowning in debt faster than a treasure chest tossed overboard by a panicked pirate. It was because of this that Long John Silver's filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, with assets valued at $329 million, but the liabilities totaled $457.3 million. It seemed like the brand would recover in 1999 when A&W Restaurants purchased it out of bankruptcy. But this ownership change was still a temporary solution, as there would be more challenges waiting for Long John Silver's in the years to come. They tried teaming up with KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell, creating a fast food Voltron that somehow made all of them worse. Imagine biting into a fish taco and suddenly questioning all your life choices. It was a new strategy, but the financial strain remained. The once mighty pirate ship was taking on water, and it didn't recover in the 2000s as expected. If the 90s were bad for Long John Silver's, the 2000s were worse. The chain changed hands multiple times, with each new captain failing to put the ship on the right track. By the start of the 21st century, consumers were more interested in meals that were health-conscious, lighter, and more customizable. But Long John Silver's had a stubborn streak, and remained focused on its traditional fried meals. The situation became worse in 2002 when Long John Silver's was sold to Yum Brands, a conglomerate company that owns KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. This was supposed to be part of Yum Brands' ongoing strategy to offer a more diverse range of global restaurants, but it didn't hold on to Long John Silver's for long. By 2011, it sold the chain again to LJS Partners, which consisted of different investors and franchises. These included the children of the original founder of Long John Silver's, Jim Patterson. With all the changes in ownership, none of the brand's issues were fixed. By 2014, they tried to sell the restaurant chain again, but this didn't work, and the brand continued to go downhill from there. A pretty big blow against Long John Silver's came in 2013 when the Center for Science and the Public Interest named the Big Catch meal from the brand as the worst restaurant meal in America. The Big Catch wasn't just a meal, it was a dare. With enough sodium to preserve a mummy and enough calories to fuel a small ship, it was basically a pirate's last meal before keeling over. The meal had 1,320 calories, 33 grams of saturated fat, and 3,700 milligrams of sodium, making it a PR disaster. It became the poster child for unhealthy eating, causing modern consumers to avoid Long John Silver's even more. By 2014 and 2015, Long John Silver's was a sinking ship. The franchise struggled, stores closed, and the brand was adrift. Long John Silver's was once a dominant fast food seafood chain, but its decline didn't happen in just one day, but over the past 3 decades, all caused by a perfect storm of strategic blunder. One of Long John Silver's problems was the menu inflexibility. In the fast food industry, stagnation is death. While competitors like McDonald's and Wendy's constantly refresh their menus, adding salads, wraps, and plant-based options, Long John Silver's remained stubbornly loyal to its deep-fried identity. Sure, fried fish and hush puppies were its signature, but as consumer tastes shifted towards healthier, fresher, and more diverse options, the chain failed to pivot. When the brand finally came out with its grilled fish and shrimp tacos, it was 2018 and came with a sluggish rollout. This was unlike all the rivals, which had spent years keeping customers on their toes with new menu options. Another problem was the overexpansion and poor location choices, as it was like John Silver's had a fleet of ghost ships. In its heyday, the brand expanded aggressively, opening over 1,000 locations in the 1980s. But this caused the capital chain to be stretched too thin, especially since some of these restaurants had a poor location. They were in low-traffic strip malls or areas where more popular fast food hubs were located. Because of the poor site selections, many of these Long John Silver's restaurants underperformed, so there were many restaurants and yet not enough profit. This just shows that growth for growth's sake is a recipe for disaster. And let's not forget that Long John Silver's seemed to have a thing against healthy options. Consumers were running away from calories, trans fat, and sodium, 3 things that the seafood brand offered in abundance. The final nail in the coffin came when their Big Catch meal was called the worst restaurant meal in America. What food business can survive this? From the start of the 2000s, Long John Silver's jumped from one owner to the other, making it hard for the restaurant chain to follow a single development plan. When it was acquired by Yum Brands in 2002, it was treated like an unloved stepchild, especially since the other restaurants under the company like KFC and Taco Bell were growing. Even when it was offloaded to LJS partners, they couldn't find a long-lasting solution and ended up trying to sell the brand again in just 3 years. The constant change in ownership left the restaurant chain confused without a proper strategy. It was like a ship which had a new captain every month, each one moving to a different direction. The final blow came with the fast casual revolution in the food industry. Chains like Chipotle, Subway, and Panera offered better quality, customizable meals at pretty low prices. Consumers were willing to pay a bit more for food that didn't taste as processed as the seafood from Long John Silver's. But the owners of Long John Silver's haven't given up, and they still want to revive the brand. The restaurant chain has been focusing on expanding domestically and internationally, especially after recovering from bankruptcy. Long John Silver's isn't completely gone yet, but its story serves as a warning for food businesses, which is to adapt or walk the plank. Even the most popular food chains can sink if they ignore the changing tides. Do you still eat at Long John Silver's, or did your doctor forbid it after one too many hush puppies? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.